people do have agency, and I think that can sort of be forgotten here. If you were an OpenAI, would you sell? Absolutely not. You're looking at one of the great, like, no way. Sam Altman is not going to work for Mark Zuckerberg when he has the potential to build a multi-trillion-dollar company. It's not going to happen.
He wants to rule the universe.
Absolutely.
And the only reason I thought of that is because we have this next email from Vikesh. He says, Andrew and Ben, something doesn't quite sit right with me about Ben's Chesterton Fence take on OpenAI. And this is in reference to your article on Monday, or your update on Monday. What if Sam Altman and Elon Musk did not tear down the Chesterton Fence of setting up a normal corporation with a normal cap table governed by normal profit incentives? Would Ilya still have joined that company? Would Dario have bothered to accept the mission? Would the rest of the Church of AI true believers at OpenAI have been tempted away from more mundane but lucrative roles? And if OpenAI did not get all these true believers to explore this space and ultimately launch ChatGPT, would we still be waiting for the penny to drop at Google about what products could be built from their transformer innovation? It's clear that OpenAI's convoluted corporate structure made them lose out on the Windsurf deal. No arguments there. But if Altman and Musk did not mess with what works regarding corporate structures, could humanity have lost out from not appreciating the power of transformers and large language models? If we believe that large language models will be a good thing for humanity, should we ultimately be grateful that Altman and Musk pursued a utopian idea like a nonprofit tech company? A wonderful zag from Vikesh there. Do you have any thoughts?
No, I think it's a very plausible argument, and I've always ascribed that to why OpenAI is how it is. Like, that you need some sort of advantage. We have less compute than Google. We're going to pay less than Google. We have everything less. Why should researchers come work for us? Because
let's protect the future of humanity together.
That's right. It's interesting in retrospect, looking back on that, and this is, I think, a point that John made on Dithering that was kind of an aha moment for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was sort of like the stated reason. I was super cynical of the deal immediately when OpenAI was formed in 2015. I wrote an update saying, spare me the sort of utopian ideals. There is a world where because Sam Altman was head of Y Combinator then. Y Combinator is threatened by, Google. Tesla is threatened by Google. Like, they're forming this to benefit their. It was a very cynical sort of take and sort of skeptical.
Yeah.
I think in retrospect, there's a mistake in conflating Altman's motivation and Musk's motivations. I think this is a clever way to hire researchers when we don't have the resources of Google. I think that's more Altman style, right? Like, and so, like, that's a reason to do. Did he really believe in the nonprofit mission, or was this a way to sort of get off the ground? He's always been interested in AI, and suddenly he got all the best employees through one simple trick, doing this convoluted structure. And the whole tie-in between OpenAI and Y Combinator generally was always sort of a tenuous one. Y Combinator is a startup accelerator. Which startups are we talking about, et cetera? I might have been right about the Musk motivation, which is, you see this with Musk. Suddenly SpaceX is investing in XAI. Real corporate governance win right there, just in general. But there is a bit where Tesla in particular, you can clearly see having leading AI is good for Musk's other companies. Yep. And so I think my cynicism in retrospect was appropriate for the Musk angle, who also was paying for the whole thing. So he had the biggest driver. Whereas I would ascribe sort of Vikesh's angle maybe more to Altman, who, by the way, needed money and Musk was providing it. So he was also incentivized to go along with this angle. So I'm going to absolve Altman a little bit in this deal.
Well, Sam's perspective and strategic incentives still sound pretty cynical relative to the stated mission put forward by OpenAI.
For sure. Look, it's a cynicism
degrees of cynicism.
That's right. I'm just saying my specific 2015 critique, I think, actually held up pretty well for Musk and his companies.
Yeah.
and is being seen in what he's doing with XAI and his companies. That's perfectly in line with my critique of the deal in 2015, which is pretty cynical. This is a sort of a cost center that's going to benefit the other companies. That seems to be what's happening with XAI in many respects.
Right.
I think for Altman, it was here's a shortcut where I can get the people that I want, without. So it's still very cynical, but not. I think I mentioned that. I don't know. No one cares about me cataloging what I wrote or did not write.
Well, I can't wait to go back and reread your take in 2015. We got to find that. If we do, we'll put it in the show notes for sure.
Someone's not reading Trajectory Takes closely. I link to it all the time. But
wow, okay,
that's okay. It's fine.
Busted here live on the podcast.
There's a good anecdote. I was on the podcast with Ezra Klein like a decade ago or something when he first started his podcast, and he was had to scruff around for people that would just be willing to do a podcast. As opposed to being, Mr. New York Times or whatever it might be. But we had one of the things that stuck in my mind from that podcast was we had just a general discussion about being bloggers and writing. And one of the important things you learn is no one remembers anything. Like he told this anecdote about someone emailed him about, or someone maybe tweeted him about, what a great article. And then I think the next day, he reposted the link.
Mm-hmm.
And the same person responded saying, "Oh, that's a really good insight. Great article." They totally forgot. Not only had they read it the day before, they'd already complimented him on it the day before. And this is totally the case. And so it's something I try to avoid, just more shamelessly repeat takes that I've had because no one remembers it, even though I feel bad about it.
Shit. Yep.
No one really gives a shit about me distinguishing, sentence 1 in paragraph 3 was correct, but
in
sentence 2 in paragraph 4. But it's a real challenge because I personally am obviously obsessed with it. So I think about it all the time. So sorry when it spills over into the podcast.
Well, listen, thank you so much for sharing your neuroses with me and the audience every week. We have come to love it. I have come to love it. And I love Vikesh's email because the core of the email comes down to whether you think the best AI researchers in the world and the best AI product people in the world were all so crazy that they only ever would have innovated and pushed forward at a company that was wrapped in the utopian ideology.
Arguably, OpenAI's formation actually set a very bad precedent, also broke a social mores. That was my point in the Justice and Defense. You didn't do a for-profit or a not-for-profit in Silicon Valley before, but now we have all these wacky companies with wacky mission statements that are not necessarily governed by the profit incentive. I think the more powerful the technology, the more I want it governed by the profit incentive. That is a limiting
governed
factor.
By something rational. Absolutely.
That's right. Instead of we promise we're going to do our best.
It's going to be our idea
not so high
of what's safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.